I have a problem. Over 3 years ago, I converted this mushroom island over to green grass, and then I built a mega base on top of it, and then I made plans to terraform this whole island with custom trees and rivers and cliffs, but I still haven't done it. This project will take a lot of materials that I don't have farms for currently, so I went to build some new farms, and I learned that I only have 17 redstone to my name. And so redstone can be obtained in a few different ways. The easiest way is to probably strip mine or cave for an hour, but why do that when I could spend dozens of hours making a cooler way to get it? And lastly, I'm pretty sure you can get a decent amount through villager trading, so I'm over here at my villager breeder. Pretty sure they'll all have a redstone trade. Yep, emerald for redstone. So today we're going to be building ourselves a villager trading hall to specifically get us as much redstone as we possibly can, but I don't really want to build it in the style that I've built my last few trading halls. So this is my librarian trading hall. This is my armor trading hall here where I get all of my emeralds, and these guys are just living in 1x1 villager jail cells. So today we're going to go back out into the desert where we built our giant pyramid a couple episodes ago, and we're going to be building a town out here entirely dedicated to villager trading, specifically getting as much redstone as possible. So I've been in the room trading with these guys a little bit just to see what other kind of trades they are, and man, these guys have some absolutely insane trades. So not only can you trade emeralds for redstone dust, you can do the same thing for lapis as well. And then all of them also seem to have a gold to emerald trade. And honestly, I've been sleeping on clerics so much. So I think we're gonna get as many of these as possible in our location, but I think we should probably start first with building the actual town that these guys are going to go in first. So going through our nether hub, what you'll see here is actually I built a brand new, how did this bat get here? Where did you come from? Hello. So I built a nether tunnel out here over to our desert slash floating pyramid area. So I have just half of a map right now here. Probably takes like a minute or 2 minutes to get out here. I've been really considering raising like the max minecart speed in this world, but I'm not sure. I just don't want it to break like any redstone devices that I have going on. But man, I really want to like minecarts, but these are just so dang slow. Okay, so now we're at the portal. So if we go through this portal at the very end of that tunnel, where we'll get to is the very top of the pyramid, or as I call it, the Temple of Boom. So if we just take a quick nosedive off the top of the pyramid down into the desert below, if you haven't seen it before, this is the giant floating pyramid, and this acts as a firework factory. So it has both a creeper farm way underneath it underground and a sugarcane farm on the very inside, which gets me all of my fireworks in the world. And so I've been really wanting to build more out here in this desert. Like, it's just a desert. It's very plain and flat out here. So we're going to expand on this build and connect our town up into the pyramid. So my initial sort of thoughts on how to do this build is that we have this oasis up here. So we have this like lake up here, a little tiny river sort of flowing down here, and then it has the water coming off the very side of it. And what this water stream is for, by the way, is all the gunpowder from the creeper farm goes up this water stream. So what I think I want to do is sort of expand on this water stream. So I want to kind of pretend that like the water is flowing off of the pyramid, and it's sort of like a magical energy sort of water thing, like coming down off here. We'll pretend it sort of lands into like a water pool right here, and then it starts like a river. So we're gonna have like a river coming off of that, flowing through some of this desert, probably connecting up to this river over there into the ocean. So I'm gonna spend some time out here sort of like shaping, trying to figure out like where the river, like what direction it's gonna head in, just to make us like enough room to build like the town coming off the river. So I will be back in just a second. Okay, so I've laid out what I think is a pretty good shape for the river. So coming off of the pyramid, this is a pretty good angle of seeing it. So there'll be a little water pool right down there where that water is, and then it'll head that way. There's a little waterfall that's going to be right down there, and then it's going to sort of just curve a little bit through the desert. Obviously, I'm going to have to terraform a whole lot of this area to make it a little bit more flat. Now, I've never really built like a river before, like I had said, so I'm not entirely sure like how to go about shaping this. So my first thought is to just like, can we just use TNT maybe to blow up little tiny holes in this river? Actually, that did pretty good. I'm gonna hope all this doesn't cause more mess than what it's actually making for me, but I think this is a pretty good method on how to do this. So I think I have a rough shape of the river completed, and I also flattened a whole lot of the terrain around it, but I'm very conflicted. I want the river to feel magical because the water is coming from a floating pyramid, which means the water should also make like a lot of greenery along the sides, like grass and plants and trees and stuff. But I'm not entirely confident that I can make that look good. I'm gonna give it a try though, but more importantly, what is this? I saw this piece of gravel sitting here while I was making the riverbed over there, and I couldn't help but think this looks a little bit suspicious. Now, I haven't played with many of the new updates, so I'm not entirely sure if this is suspicious gravel or if like my mind is just going crazy, but I think it's probably worth giving it a little brush job. I think there's a gas leak in my house. Okay, so it's definitely not suspicious gravel. I don't know what it is about this texture, but it just looked a little bit off to me. Someone remind me not to put this in the video. You know what's not suspicious though? Subscribing, because if we hit our goal of 500 subscribers on this episode, I'll release the world download for free for everyone in the Discord. Be sure to join so you don't miss out. So I've been playing around with how to texture the riverbed in just this small area right here, and I think I've been cooking. So I'm using these path blocks here next to the water to kind of make it look like it's like wet sand, like the water's been kind of like soaked into the sand. It's a little bit of like a darker texture. Oops. It's a little bit of a darker texture here that I was able to mix in with some grass and then some like dirt. And then I've been using this leaf litter to kind of blend in like the brown colors back into the yellow of the sand, and I think that looks really good. So I did just a little section on both sides. I didn't want to go overboard with it quite yet. And then I was able to mix in some greenery like the sugarcane and actually some bamboo. I think looks pretty good in this area here. And then in the water, I haven't done like a river like this before, so I think this looks really cool. I just tried to make it look like kind of like some shadows. So I used mud like directly underneath the packed grass there, and then I just kind of textured in with some gravel and some birch planks and some end stone just to kind of like give like a little bit more variation to the sand down there, and then I just spammed a little bit of bone meal to get all of the grass in there. So I think all this looks really good. I'm gonna give it a try and just try to get like all of it done with this sort of texturing, and I think it's gonna be a little bit of a trust the process thing, because as soon as I'm done with like the outside of the riverbed here, we're gonna add some houses and roads, and I think like it's going to directly connect up with the river. So I think it's going to look a whole lot better once we have some other things in this area. I kept looking at this area and thinking that there was something massively wrong with it, and I couldn't really figure out exactly what like this was missing. It just still looked a little bit too much between the path block and the sand. There just wasn't enough like between the two of them, and that was when I thought about mud. So adding this here, I think, is the perfect like differentiator here. I think this is what was needed to make the area look a whole lot better, and I could still do a lot of the blending with the leaf litter and stuff, but I think adding this is going to really pull all of it together. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is such a better gradient than what we had here before. Hello, sir. Do you have any good trades for me? No. Sorry, Mog Swamp, look away. I think this is looking really great so far. The river still looks a little bit out of place, but I think when the town is in, all the colors will match really well and it won't look so weird. Just need to fill in some water and the waterfall here, which I think looks really good with all the stone and andesite sort of mixed in. Then just some small details, and I think that we can call the river complete for now. So the next thing that I think I'm going to do now that the river is complete is start planning out where all the houses are going to go. Hello, boys. So I think in total, I'm going to have 24 different clerics, because if my math is correct, with 24 clerics, I could trade through all of them, and then I would have exactly one stack of redstone blocks. And for the big reveal, I built a bunch of hollow cubes. So this is typically how I plan my towns or cities that I build in Minecraft. One could say it's a glimpse into my dark and twisted mind. So it's very important to plan the layout before going all in on the designs of the houses, because honestly, I have no idea like how these different houses are going to look, but I want to make sure that I know where they're going to go before I start doing like all the individual details. And you also want to make sure the town has like a natural flow to it. And honestly, the most important thing though that I was doing with this planning is utilizing sight lines to make sure that you can always see the pyramid from wherever you are in the town. So So just sort of going through, like, I haven't built the roads yet because, like, I don't know exactly what block I'm going to use for the roads, but I know roughly where they're going to be, like, in my head. So kind of going along the roads, you'll notice no matter where I'm kind of walking, the pyramid is always sort of framed between houses. So, like, right here's a good example. We have a big, tall house here. We have some shorter ones over here. None of them are blocking the pyramid. So as you're kind of walking through where the roads will be, you can always sort of see it in all sort of locations that you're in. And it's the same sort of methodology out on the other side. So this is just a temporary bridge here. So we have another couple houses on this side. So the road will come through this way and you'll see the same sort of thing happening. A complete framing of the pyramid. Nothing is ever blocked. We'll have the road over here this way and it just sort of extends all the way over to here. So there's other ways to also do some more framing. Like for example, like right here, you know, there's this sort of area that's blank here, and I considered putting a house here, but honestly, what would probably look really good is a very just tall palm tree over here, like in this area here. So there's more ways to do it than with just houses, but I wanted to make sure that that was like sort of the focal point, and the town is kind of like built around that as the center. And we'll probably have another bridge over here to get back to like the other side of the town, but I just haven't quite worked out exactly where that's going to be yet. I think the next thing that I'm going to do is just build one of these houses, just get one of them in here. Because I think what I built is 12 houses, and I said I want to do 24 villagers. Some are definitely smaller than the others. Like this one right here is going to be really tiny, so it could probably only fit one villager in there. But some of them are way bigger. It could probably fit 2 to 3 villagers in it. Like this tall one could have like multiple floors within it, so I could probably fit 3 different villagers in here. So like I said, in total 24 villagers, 12 houses. I think this is a really good start. Okay, and with that, we have our first house here mostly done, I think. I really like the color palette that I went with this, and I kept the terracotta on the very top, and I might do that for all the different houses that we're going to build in later. Just use like the color that they, you know, were sort of planned in up at the very top, but just a ton of little small details. In the back of the house here, we have just like a little canopy area with some workstations and some pots and stuff, a bunch of small details. And then on the inside, we have a very basic interior, but I think it looks really good. I used some like wood beams up here, and the 2 villagers that are going to be in this house are going to be right in here. And these guys are just living in 1x1 villager jail cells. But I swear it's much better living conditions in here. So now that we have one house done and we have about 11 to go, I guess it's just time to draw the rest of the owl. So let's get started, everybody. Okay, so we have all our different houses set in this village, and I think this looks just so good. Like, I kind of went with like a style of like trying to use like an existing like desert village sort of style, like boxy sort of houses, and then just sort of improve them, add texturing, add different colors and highlights and details, and some other blocks sprinkled throughout. All of them also have fully finished interiors. I'll show those in just a minute here, but I think before we do some of the other details, because we're going to still add like trees, we're going to add roads, we're going to add like a ton of small little just like details and all the empty spaces, but I think before we do that, it makes sense to actually start filling these houses with villagers. So I know I was at my villager breeder in the very beginning of the episode, and I think those are going to supply us with some of the villagers, but there actually is just a regular desert village here, just like right over here from the other village. So I think, I don't know how many villagers are here, but I think it would probably be easiest to take as many of these as possible from their homes and bring them to our village. All right, everybody, it's time to evacuate. It's time to get out of your houses and come to your new homes. Why are they not coming here? Why are they all running away from the bell? What the heck? I thought this was supposed to summon them. So it looks like there was only 6 or 7 villagers here. I thought there was a lot more in this village, but that's okay. This is gonna get us a good start, and then we'll just get the rest from our villager breeder. So I painstakingly moved all the villagers into their respective houses, and we still have a ton of work to do still in the town to really bring it all to life. But while I do a round of trading for Redstone, I wanted to let you guys know about Bluehost. They do some of the best Minecraft server hosting on the market at unbeatable prices on a wide variety of plans. I'm actually playing on one of their servers right now. If you use the link in the description and code SMALLGUY at checkout, you'll get 25% off your first invoice. All right, let's get back to the video. I think the town is looking absolutely amazing so far with so many unique houses and interiors, but to really elevate this build to the next level, we're still gonna need to do 5 key things. The final details are often what separates a good build from an amazing build. Starting off with the most important thing, which is blowing up this other village. I told the villagers before we moved them out of there that there was a gas leak, and I'm no liar. Next, we're gonna need to add some palm trees to the area, and if you're a longtime viewer, you know that custom trees aren't my thing at all. I mean, look at these palm trees that I made on top of the pyramid. But this time around, I'm going big and stylish with them. I definitely didn't want to overcrowd the area with too many trees, so I scattered a few just around here. I think there's probably 5 or 6 different trees, but by far my favorite one is the one over here, this really tall double wide one. And I did a very similar thing with the sight lines, so when you're looking between these buildings, you're not really getting blocked from any of these trees, and you always kind of have a good view of all the different palm trees at any given time. The next thing that we're going to work on is some roads to connect all the different houses together. So roads definitely really helps bring like a town to life. Like when you just have separate houses, you know, there's not much really connecting them all together. So I've been playing around with a road design here, and I'm trying to go for a little bit more like muted colors here with this one. I don't know if I want to use like mud or any sort of like dirt colors within here. I'm trying to just go for sort of like yellowy colors, and a neat trick that you can do if you're going for like more texture on sand is to get this texture that I have right here, which is typically on like the sides of sandstone. You could actually put stairs upside down to get that texture on the top of the block. And then I think birch also goes really well with the sand and sandstone textures. I might even do a little bit less of this path block and more just sort of like sand mix between it. Yeah, I think that looks okay. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more. So I really love how all these roads came out. I really used a lot of these path blocks really heavily. I just really love the color and how much it really blends in with the sand and stuff. And then I used birch and birch buttons to sort of be like, I don't know, little tiny sand patches or something like that. And overall, it just connects up all the houses and adds a really good flow to the place. So the next thing that we're going to do is add some life and movement here. Now, probably the easiest way to do this is to just build a couple different iron golems around the place, just for some extra added muscle here. I can't believe this is the first iron golem I've ever made. The iron golems are definitely going to help, but another neat trick that you can do just to make sure that zombies can't like break doors to get in and get to these guys is to actually put the doors on backwards. So if you kind of like sneak behind the block and go like this, technically this door right now is closed. And then if I go like this, technically the door is now open. So from the outside, the zombie is never going to attempt to break through this and try to mangle the villagers up inside there. But I don't think a few of these guys is going to hurt in case any zombies do spawn and try to start getting inside any of the houses. The next thing that we can add is some camels, and I'm seeing one right over here. I think I want to add a couple to the town just to add a little bit more life with these guys. I've never actually like interacted with camels before. Is that I could just be on this guy? He's not gonna like kick me off or anything. I don't think I could actually ride him though into the town. So I'm gonna do something a little bit unique here. Oh, he's laying down. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put a lead on him, and I need to get him all the way over to the village right over there. So I'm going to give it a try to just use like a wind charge to see if I can bring him over, because I don't think you can elytra rocket with mobs anymore. Nope, that didn't work. Let's give this another try and see if I can't like wind charge like upwards. Does that make a difference? Oh, wait, he did go up there. Okay, hold on, I might be cooking. Oh my god, it's working, it's working, it's working! I bet you can't do this in Hightail. Okay, I brought him all the way over to his little friend over here, so I think I'm just gonna get this guy, and maybe I'm gonna look for one more. I'm just gonna place a couple of these guys just like tied up on like the fences all around. Okay, buddy, I don't need you to lay down right here. I need you to kind of move. Oh boy. So I have this little tent here, which is supposed to be kind of like a little pot shop here, and I want to see if I can add a little bit of life and movement to this. And my first thought was to try to use the new copper golems to try and see how it looks to have them like hold pots. Like I want to see if he can hold a pot like this in his hand and it actually looks like he's holding a pot and not just like a texture of a pot. I'm just gonna pop one down real quick right here and put in some decorative pots. And I just want to see what this looks like. Where you going, buddy? Come on, pick that up, pick that up. Let me see you. Let me see you. Actually, that doesn't look so bad. Yeah, it looks like he's holding the pot in his hand. Guys, I'm scared. I've been out here in the desert working for a few days now, and this is the first time I've seen this. Oh, God. This is the first time I've seen the new camel. Whoa! The new camel husk here. Is there anything that I could do with this guy? I'm gonna try to get like the mobs that are on top of him off, and I want to see kind of what happens here. Whoa! All right, you gotta go. You gotta go. Oh. Oh my God, am I gonna die? Is this how it all ends? No, please. You are my arch enemy. Oh my God, you can go in water? Oh, wait. He might be totally stuck. Okay, this is my opportunity. The server's gonna restart in 60 seconds. We have no time. Is this guy my friend now? Can I do anything with this? I think he likes me. Oh! I'm gonna give him a little name in case he despawns. I'm not sure if these despawn, so I'm just gonna play it a little bit safe here. Me and Freak Boy are best friends. Okay, so check it out. I put a little sign here. It's pots for sale. This is a little pot shop, and it looks like he's just kind of like sorting inventory around. Like he's like picking up the pot, he's moving it around the little chest, he's walking back and forth. It just looks like he's a little like working here. So I think with that, our final step before we go ahead and do a full round of trading with all the villagers is to add in some small remaining details. Things like a staircase up to this house that's up on a tiny little hill, some additional plants and shrubbery around the place, a little cart full of hay bales, some melon shops around here, and of course cleaning up this absolute mess of a shulker monster that we've built up over all this time. Also adding in these new banners that I made to the town I think is super slick. It's meant to represent the pyramid in almost like a cult-like worshipy fashion. I think it's time to test out actually how much redstone this town gets us, so I'm going to do a full round of trades. This style of villager trading halls I think is something I'm going to be doing a lot more in the future of this world, making sort of themed towns in different biomes based around some sort of mega farm. Though to do that, I probably need to beef up my emerald production, but that's a problem for another day. Be sure to subscribe to see that. Something I also didn't think about is converting these guys over to zombies and then curing them back into villagers. I'm not sure if they would sell more redstone or not. Let me know in the comments if I can improve this in the future. Looks like my math was a bit off here. We got 624 redstone in a full round of trading, which is a little bit more than a full stack of redstone blocks. If we did the max amount of 3 restocks per day, we would get 1,872 redstone, or roughly 11,000 per hour. So I think with that, the build is complete. The last steps are to make some maps of the area for our nether hub and also update our world map as well. Wow, this looks so small in this map. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to join the Discord for the world download, and be sure to check out some of my other videos like my newest world tour or my original pyramid build.